to my channel. My name is Alicia Rebecca Parchment and this is HR Talks with Leash, where we talk all things HR. Join me on this journey to success as a HR intern to one day becoming a HR professional. If you're new, welcome. I hope that you find this video very informative. I hope that you really like this video, and please go and check out all my other videos if this is a topic of interest to you. Also, please could you like, comment, share, subscribe and click that notification bell so that you're always notified when I post a video. So without further ado, let's get into what today's video is all about. So guys, welcome back to my master's degree at Aston University, the series. This is part 3. This is the final video within the series where I explain my third term to you guys. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing research methods, the proposal. We had to write a research proposal in term 2 and I forgot to mention it in the second video. So I'm just going to quickly explain it on this one. I'm also going to talk you through my dissertation journey, and the final point that I'm going to mention in this video is the professional development program, which you will have to do throughout the entire year of your master's degree, but I'm going to be speaking specifically on what I had to complete in the third term. So before we actually begin on what part 3 is all about, I just want to go over the research proposal that I missed out in the part 2 video. So the research proposal, that's part of the research methods module, and you have to write a proposal worth 100% of the module to then aid you with your dissertation. So the research proposal is literally an outline of what you're trying to research later on in your degree. So you choose a topic of what you're really interested in. Usually they kind of try and get you to think about a topic very early on, but you don't have to have it set in stone like at all at the early stages, but it is good to have an idea. But when it comes to writing this proposal, you need to have some kind of idea of what you want to do. So you've got an introduction where you just outline what the topic you're talking about is all about. So I'm just going to use my topic as an example. I wanted to study HR professionals and their influence as change agents within corporate social responsibility of the company that they're working in. For this proposal specifically, I wanted to do it like based in a law firm, but it didn't work out because of COVID, but that's another story. So I'd introduce the topic, I'd introduce what corporate social responsibility was, what HR is, and then I would introduce why I want to study them together, what the connections are. Then I'd go on to put my aims and objectives. So my aims and objectives would be what I want the outcome to be of the research, like what do I want to find. So specifically when I was writing my research proposal, I wanted it to be qualitative. So it's when you're thinking of research questions for that, it's usually like how, why, those kind of like questions you're asking to find out research, because you're going to be interviewing people to find out like how can HR influence corporate social responsibility and be a change agent, what are they doing at the moment, you know, things like that. That's just brief though. Once you've come up with your aim and objectives, you then have to write a lit review. So the lit review is basically like a review of the literature, so papers that you find based on, for this example, corporate social responsibility and HR, how are they interlinked? What's the history behind corporate social responsibility? What's the history behind HR? With the lit review, so you start broad with what the concepts are, and then you kind of narrow it down until you get to a place where you're talking about why the research needs to be conducted, what are the gaps in the literature, and how is your research going to benefit other people out there to make differences within the topic area that you're talking about. Once you've spoken about that, then you'll go into like the methodologies. So what research design are you choosing? As I said previously, one was going to be qualitative, but you still have to talk about the quantitative element as well, just to understand why you're refuting one over the other. So I chose qualitative, but I had to explain why quantitative wouldn't be the best idea. Once you do that, then you need to talk about the philosophical underpinnings behind each of the research designs. So for qualitative, you got to speak about like the interpretive approach, so why it's good to look at information in a holistic manner, why it's good to research experiences, understand why people think the way they think, instead of the quantitative method, which is, can't remember what the term is, I'll write it down so that you guys know what I'm talking about, but obviously you're explaining why it's better to analyze statistics and figures, why it's better to have robust findings and information in a quantitative manner. Once you've then analysed that, then you have to go into like ethical concerns. So what could pop up that could be ethically wrong, and how are we going to stop that? How are we going to make sure that doesn't happen when we're doing the research? And yeah, so you're basically just proposing an idea to your supervisor on what you want to do for your actual dissertation. So yeah, this is 100% of the research methods module, and it is 3,500 words. I would rate this module, I'm going to say 3. When I was writing my research proposal, I was doing it mainly at home. I wasn't really at uni in the library or anything. So at this time, this was like the transition between normal life and like lockdown life. So I think it was a bit difficult for me to write the research proposal in this time. It was hard, but I was able to get it done. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it actually. I enjoyed it because I was writing on a topic that I actually cared about, and I was able to find some really good evidence and research, and I was making it my own. So I did enjoy it. You know what, I'm going to change it to 3.5 just because I did enjoy the topic. The other part of it, the reason why I didn't give it like a full 5 out of 5 is just because of the disruption. Like, it kind of caused me to kind of not really be focused 100% of the time what I was doing, because so much stuff was going on in the world. But then I got to grips with it when it came to the deadline, and I was trying to get on with it, and I was able to complete it to the deadline. I'm happy with myself there. So now we're actually getting into part 3. So in term 3, there's literally only 2 modules that you've got to think about, because once you've done all the taught part, you get like your marks for the taught stage, and then like they say that you are able to move on to the dissertation, and you can also do your PDP, the rest of the PDP modules. So first I'm going to talk to you about my dissertation journey. So the journey really starts towards the start of the year. So in around October, they give you like a form to fill out where you have to kind of indicate what type of topic you want to study. So initially I wanted to do employee engagement, because I just always found the topic quite interesting, like how can you keep employees engaged. But I didn't have like a specific area in which I wanted to focus it on. I didn't know what to compare it with or whatnot, so that was just initial ideas. And then as the term went on, I did, in the module strategic and international HRM, that module was where I finally understood exactly what I wanted to do for my dissertation. Because on our exam, I was intrigued by one of the exam questions, because it talked about corporate social responsibility, CSR. I'm going to refer to it as CSR now because it's long to say that. And what was HR's influence in that? So that question really stood out to me. That was one of the questions on the exam. And I was just like, Alicia, this sounds interesting. Like, what's CSR? Like, I just wanted to know more. So obviously when I was doing my research for the exam anyway, like I was understanding what CSR was, what it meant, how companies, like, are companies using it, are they not? I found it really interesting because I wanted to know how HR was involved in this, because there are companies out there that just focus on, they just have like corporate social responsibility departments that focus on all that stuff, and sometimes HR is not fully part of it, even though they've got the right expertise, they've got like the certain skill set that could actually aid to that kind of thing. So yeah, I found it interesting. I was like, how can they be better change agents within corporate social responsibility? So yeah, I decided from there I was gonna research and think of a question, think of things that will align with what I'm trying to do. So when it came to like February, March, I found out who my supervisor was. So I had my first meeting with my supervisor at uni. This was just before COVID started, and I told him my idea and he really engaged with it. He was like, yeah, Alicia, this sounds amazing. But because I initially said I wanted to do employee engagement, that was kind of where his expertise lied. He was kind of like, oh, CSR is not really my expertise, but I can still help you. And he really did, because he even like said he'd reach out to people who are more based in that area just to help me even more. But it was okay because the way I was going about it, he was able to aid me in that anyway. He was really good at aiding me in it. So yeah, we spoke about the plans, what we're going to do, like how I was going to execute my idea, how I was going to go and approach a business to speak to them about, you know, trying to interview HR managers and employees so I can get the data I needed. But at this time, COVID was just sneaking into the UK at this time. So my supervisor was like, Alicia, I don't think we're going to be doing face-to-face sessions anymore. Like, most things are going to be online soon. I just don't see it happening because this COVID thing is getting worse. And he was right, and I knew already what was going on. Like, the COVID situation was getting worse, and I was like, yeah, we're definitely not going to be at uni like we have been. So everything basically went online. But whilst everything went online, also my plans were disrupted. I had to change my whole title because in my research proposal I wanted to like look at HR professionals within a law firm. I couldn't do that because I couldn't go to the company and interview them, so I decided to do a systematic review instead. My supervisor advised that it was the better option for me, so we went down that lane. But I didn't really know what a systematic review was. I was like, I know what a lit review is, but what's a systematic review? So he gave me like a whole session on it and everything, and I was able to understand what it meant. It was hard. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, guys. Like, writing my dissertation, when it came around to like researching and writing it after I finished like all my other modules, it was so difficult. Like, I had to look through a database and it had like 200 odd papers, and from that I had to read all the abstracts and the titles first off to see if they matched up to what I was searching and what I was trying to do. And then I cut it all down to like 25, and I found some other like papers from professional bodies like the CIPD. And guys, it was tough. Oh, it was tough. I'm telling you, it was hard. It was difficult juggling the disso with the whole quarantine and everything. But we managed to do it. Writing the results was tough for me. I found it really hard and difficult because I get writer's block. So like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, Alicia, today's the day, you're gonna get this done. And then there's times when I plan to write like 1,000 words and only 200 have come out of my head, and even that doesn't make sense. So like, I was going through a lot in terms of the write. Like, I was stressing out a little bit as well because I was like, am I actually going to be able to write 10,000 words and it's gonna make sense? And it's, you know, like, I didn't know. But one thing that kept me going was faith. Like, guys, I have a lot of faith in myself, even though stress comes upon me sometimes, and sometimes, you know, things don't exactly work out how I want them to be. I have so much faith in myself, and I know I've done well in this dissertation. I know, even if I feel like in my head, oh, maybe no, I cut all of those thoughts out. I have done well. I tried my best. I did my best. If you want to know like a detailed summary of like what the different sections are, if you go back to my day in the life video and like skip halfway through, I actually explain each of the sections. So that's why I haven't explained it here. So just go to that video, guys, and that will tell you everything in terms of like what you have to write within the dissertation. But with this, I kind of just wanted to tell my journey and my story a little bit, just because it was really recent. I just finished last month, so it's really fresh on my mind when I'm recording this. I hope, guys, that when you guys are writing your dissertations, if you did do HR, that it's a smooth process and that you've kind of started to get to grips with the whole world changing, because things just change left, right and centre, but it's the way you adapt to it, I guess. So if you adapt to it in the right way, then you'll be fine. This is 100% of the HR business project module, and it's also 10,000 words, I think I mentioned already. If I was to rate the dissertation module, I'm going to give it a 3. So the final module that I want to talk about in this term is the professional development program. So the professional development program, which is also called PDP, the PDP module, that consisted of 3 different sections. So I can't remember if I spoke about like the first section of the module, which was like a little presentation that I had to do like way at the start of the degree with my group, because they allocate you groups at the start. The next stream, which I did in term 3 now, was we had to speak about writing our dissertation. So like, you had to kind of reflect on writing it and reflect on writing it when you were in COVID as well. So we had to kind of reflect on writing the dissertation in COVID, like how did it affect me, how did I feel, did I think I was productive with it, all these kind of things. I also had to talk about the technical and employability skills that I gained from the PDP experience throughout the whole program, so things like team working. And the final part within this section was talking about my career path in the future. So I had to basically evaluate and talk about what I wanted to do in the future, where am I at now, what am I planning on doing in 5 years, and so forth. And then the final section that I had to complete was talking about how COVID affected like my overall performance with development throughout the pandemic. This was just like a reflection of my whole experience with PDP, but also my experience when I had to face that transition between normal life and COVID life, because it actually happened right in the middle of my degree. So yeah, it was a bit difficult. So in terms of the percentages, the weighting of the modules, so stream, I can't remember which stream it is, I'll write down exactly which one was with which percentage, but I know that the first section, so the presentation, that's 10% of the PDP module. Basically, one of them is 40% and one of them is 50%, and altogether that makes up 100% of that module. So PDP, it's not like the portfolio modules, which is just a pass or fail. It does get marked or graded alongside the dissertation in term 3. So guys, that's the end of the video. I really hope that you found this content informative. I hope that you got something out of it. I hope that it might help you with your decision as to whether you want to study HR at Aston or at any other university. And I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. Please comment down below. I really want to start a conversation with you guys. I really want to understand what you want from me, because this channel is all about you. It's all for you. Please join me again for my next video.